Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. So today we're going to work on Hostinger Horizon. Quite simply, it's an intelligent code editor. This one is an expert in creating web applications. Before starting to do demonstrations on Hostinger, I would like to make a small comparison between Hostinger and Bolt. I have conducted several tests with the Hostinger tool. I have done several projects to evaluate and fully understand the limits, capabilities, and performance of this tool. And honestly, the result is truly impressive. I really like the result that was created by Hostinger. So the difference between Hostinger and Bolt, you should know that Bolt's advantage is that I can indeed create mobile applications with it. Since it is partnered with Expo, creating mobile applications becomes really easy here on Bolt. This is something Hostinger does not do. Hostinger is much stronger in creating web applications and everything related to SaaS, so anything that is online software can really be done smoothly in a very simple, very easy way with Hostinger. Another issue with Bolt might be that when working on a project to deploy it, you actually need to download the project here, okay? Then do all the work to host the project online, because simply deploying it here only allows you to preview your application, but you can't host it. This means you will need to do all the hosting work. Additionally, on Bolt, you need to connect with a database, whether it's Supabase, Firebase, or any other database. What is advantageous about Hostinger and what attracted me to this tool is that you don't need to handle the hosting. This means that everything you work on as a prompt here will be directly hosted on your website, on your direct URL. So if you have a domain name, the work will be done directly on your domain name. If you don't have a domain name, it will provide you with a temporary domain name while you test everything. And that's the advantage, because the creation of the database will also be done automatically, and that's what I liked. So you won't actually need to do external integrations. Everything is done directly on this prompt. So in the end, it's as if you are building your web application in real time directly without needing to put it online, because generally I have made hundreds, I think, of applications that I have tested on Bolt. When we finish, we put our application online on Bolt. Afterwards, maintaining it is very complicated. Why? Because you can't really maintain an application that is already online. So somewhere, either you go back to the code here, do the development, updates and fixes, and then you have to re-upload all the new files or even the entire application to have it online. The advantage with Hostinger, no, we are working here on Hostinger. The site goes online every time you make updates here. You can click to publish it automatically. And that's what makes it a strong point. For example, here is a small application that I created. When I click here on publish, it is publishing it online completely with the database, with the code, with everything that goes with it. And here it gives me two options. Either I work with this URL here, which is a temporary URL, or I can simply click here to have my domain name. So here, when I click here, I can choose a domain name to automatically put my site on the application I want and the domain name I have chosen. And there you go, I can simply enter the domain name I want. So if the domain name exists and I have already purchased it, it's very simple. It will automatically point to that domain name. So it will guide you to change the DNS so that the domain name, there you go, will point to your server. If you simply have a new domain name that you want to assign to something really new, like here, I will just do it like this. So as soon as I type, it will suggest, let's assume, we'll just take it for testing. So here it will directly show me, look, the rates and prices of domain names. So if I take this one that costs less than €1, if I take this one, you will see I click on next. Of course, here I have the option to actually just pay for the domain name. And that's what's very, very interesting. This means that here I won't have to pay for anything other than the domain name, because the hosting, the database, is already included in the Hostinger Horizon package. So here, as a result, I will pay for this system. I can, of course, choose for 2 years. I can choose for 3 years, enter my credit card here and simply proceed with the payment. And that's what actually makes the application very simple to deploy. So the Hostinger Horizon system works with a number of messages. This means it gives you a limited number of instances you can launch each month. For example, I chose 500 messages, so I have 500 instances that I can launch to run my application. Of course, I can upgrade to have even more instances. But be careful. What's very important is that if you manage to set up your instance well and detail the prompt thoroughly, the result will be of very high quality. For example, I created an entire application that you are currently seeing. I made this application with just 2 prompts. That means I launched my first prompt. Afterwards, it worked. I told it to fix a bug because I noticed a small startup issue. It fixed the bug on its own. And then I asked it to set up an electronic payment system with subscriptions, and it handled that. So in total, we used 3 instances. We only consumed 3 instances. But to have that quality, you will see it's a little bit the display of this application. So here, this is a system that manages expenses. I can purchase categories, manage subscriptions, and change the plan. Once I choose this plan, I click on subscribe as you wish to subscribe. So, as you can see here, I can even set up electronic payment, and I can even have the payment withdrawn from my bank card, thanks to the Stripe system behind it. All of this was set up with just a few tools that are very easy, very simple to implement. And it's a system that allowed me to create this software. It's thanks to quality tools. I did a lot of tests. I tested with other applications to find the best tool. And finally, I managed to create a small documentation for you, where I perfectly show you how to create your tool to get the best result on Rostinger Horizon. And we will also use... I have set up here what we call a GPT. This is a free GPT that I created especially for you, so it is accessible at this link, which I will also provide in the current support. For this one, you just need to give it your idea, or simply provide a site that you want to clone. And you will see the system will be able to create your own prompt, where you will simply copy-paste it here on Stinger to get the best result. I will try to detail this for you step by step to really learn how to create any web application in a very, very advanced way. Web applications that include client areas for connections, applications that will be primarily powered by artificial intelligence. We will try to show you exactly how to solve errors, how to create login areas, all without typing a single line of code and especially without any database installation, with a system directly accessible with just one button, which is publish. There, it will directly give you your work online with another domain, either temporary or another permanent domain. So the first step, we simply need to sign up for Hostinger Horizon. But before starting, just a very important piece of information. Here you have a help section and you will see what is called customer support. So what is customer support? This is something you don't find in other code editors. In customer support, you will find a small button here called Start a Live Chat. So here, if you ever encounter a problem with installation, a bug issue, a coding issue, or any problem whatsoever with Resting Horizon, there is the possibility to click here to directly get in touch with another human. And there you go, it's a person, actually an assistant, who will try to guide you or assist you. And that is a bit very difficult with Bolt. With Bolt, once you have started programming, getting support afterwards is very, very difficult unless you send an email and sometimes wait 1 to 2 weeks for a response. Okay, so this is very important, which is why when I sign up, I will obviously leave you the registration link directly on the course support and also even in the description here. There is the possibility of getting a 100% refund within 30 days, which means I can simply start testing, create my application, and I have 30 days to actually test and really refine my application. If I can't manage or I'm not satisfied with the service from Hostinger Horizon, I can simply make a request, even if I've used the services, a very simple request to ask for a 100% refund. And it is done automatically, which is very, very interesting. This is something you obviously don't find with other tools, no matter which editor. If you use the services and are not satisfied, they tell you not to renew the subscription. But here, with this option of getting a refund, it's really very, very interesting. So I click on Start, and you will see that it will actually offer me 3 or 4 packages. Okay, so there's the first package, which gives me up to 100 messages. The second up to 250, the third up to 500, and the fourth up to 1000. Personally, I chose this one, the 500 messages package, because 500 messages really give me the freedom to test and especially to customize my web application. That is to say, if I have a fairly developed web application, it's very interesting to have the 500 messages so that I can really test it, ask it to rework the codes, work on the buttons, work on the information, and develop the internal pages. And 500 messages is little for a web application. So a web application is less than 500. The price to pay is therefore practically 100 euros. So 99.99 euro, we're talking about 100 euros per month. That actually seems logical to me. Especially if I have an application that I can host directly, that I can have a direct database, that I have a 30-day guarantee, and especially have assistants who can actually help me, who can support me if there's really a blockage. That matters. So there you go. So I repeat that this is really what interests me the most, the support. It's a bit what I'm looking for when I try to make an application with a code editor, because especially for those who are not knowledgeable, sometimes we encounter a bug and consume a lot of tokens. So the word token is a bit about the consumption with other editors, and then we lose a lot of tokens and remain stuck at the starting point. Here, the hosting is included since I have a month offered, and I can go up to 50 web applications, which is very interesting. That means with 500 messages, if I was able to create an application with just 100 messages, I can move on to the next one. I can also have a professional email address, and there you go, easy domain name connection, and we've already seen that, so you just need to enter the domain name you want, and you're good to go. And also there is another very important piece of information. I can start with 19 euros and upgrade, meaning that when I feel like I'm missing features, I click on upgrade and hop. I move to the next package. So there you go. It's simple. I click on select and there you go. I have the system. So there is a renewal at the price of 14 euros per month. And that's very, very interesting. So here it gives me free hosting for 1 month, and then I can renew at 14 euros per month for hosting my application. Because here you need to differentiate between the creation of your application and subsequently the subscription for your hosting. Because the applications you create will actually be hosted somewhere. So sometimes I can actually develop, and after a month I've finished the development. I no longer need the AI for development, so I can just keep the hosting. And that would be very interesting, so I can just have the hosting, but not the application that allows the use of AI. But in general, when you have a large application that I want to make money from, that I want to monetize better, it's very important to keep the AI with it. Because if there's ever a bug, if there's ever development related to some data, it's very important to keep the AI functional. Before continuing, I found on their official website they provided a discount coupon. We will try to test it together. I hope it works. So they say it gives 10%. And there you go, very, very good. So there, it will be good. So we will buy it for just $89.99. So after that, all that's left to do is click on continue to directly access your interface, where I can simply create my application. Very well, so once we've created our account, we find ourselves directly on our management interface. And you will see that here you have a small space called website. When you click on website, you will see that you will find the list of your website. So you should know that here you can create up to 50 applications or 50 web or SaaS applications. And to do it, it's very simple. You will find here a small button called Add Website. So I click here and you will see that there is this option called Hosting or Horizon. So here, when I click here, let's repeat. There you go. It automatically brings me to this space. And this is actually the space where when I launch my project, it will create a temporary domain name, install my application, the database, and all the necessary files. And as a result, I can launch my system without any problem. So that's why it's very important to understand that the quality of the project you put here is what will make the difference in the realization and development of your application. That's why, before I launch a prompt and show you a little bit of the result, I would like to share with you my method for creating a perfect prompt, which saves me a lot of time, including the score, because we have up to 500 prompts, so we won't just use them indiscriminately. We will use them in a very optimized way to have a quality SaaS or web application. So we have our GTS, which is called Hosting Horizon. This is a free GTS that is actually capable of creating the specifications or the first prompt you need to launch on the Hosting Horizon artificial intelligence. But to understand how it works and operates, I would like to actually give you the architecture of the perfect print or the information from the specifications that Hostinger will need to properly launch your project. Firstly, it actually needs me to provide what we call the print or the brand. Here we will simply provide the identity of your application. We can provide the name of the application, the visual identity, the colors, the typography, the logo, the style, and the tone of your application. Is it professional? Do you want to create something minimalist? As a result, the parent is very important, because from the start, when they know a little about the brand of your application, they will create the right design to match it and will understand a bit about the look of your application. Next, we have a second part, which is the objective. So it's very important to provide them with the objective of our application. The goal, why do I want to create this application? Is it addressing a problem? Is the application going to help perform specific tasks in a specific field? So, as a result, they will understand the target, they will understand the added value, and you will see, this is what I really liked about Hostinger, that its artificial intelligence is quite advanced, very oriented towards SaaS applications, web applications. So, as a result, it can even develop features that you didn't request, but it understood that they are important and necessary. And that's a bit of the difference with other code editors, where if you don't provide the necessary information or basic features, it won't make the effort to add features in a very developed way. On Hosting Horizon, you can feel that I understood. I think from the 9th project I tested, I realized that it actually has the ability to find the basic features even if you haven't provided them. All of this is thanks to the objectives, so it was really necessary to define the objectives for it. Then we have what we call the main features. So here you will provide in bullet points what the features of your application are. Let's say the essential primary features without going too much into detail. We list them in bullet points and then it will try to develop them. We also need menus, which is optional. It's if your application needs a menu. So it's very good to provide it with the menu because it is actually capable of developing the different menu pages. This is also the difference with other editors, where when you provide the menu, it will just display it. But this one really moves towards development from the very first step. Then, the information at the level of your interface, and this is very important, the design, how you want it, the navigation, how you want it to be, the accessibility, in fact. If you want to include a dark mode, there you go. So all the information. So here I try to detail all the information. So for you, it's very simple. You might say, okay, how am I going to do it? Should I develop it? Should I write it one by one? Or should I ask an AI to do it? And it's very simple. I actually developed a GTS. This one is capable of giving you the 5 elements, meaning it will provide the brand, the objectives, the main features, the menu, the interface. You just need to give it your idea, just give it the idea and it can do it, or simply give it a site where I can just copy it. If you give it a site, it will try to draw inspiration from that site and will obviously provide you with the result and the complete development of that site. So, to always find an idea for your application, there are 2 ways to do it. Either I have an idea. So I actually try to look for similar ideas or people who have created the same idea. Or I can simply use AI to ask them for new ideas, ideas that are profitable and interesting. So for me, I just want to do a little test with you. Here, I typed in Adaptive Budget, and then it gave me several applications that allow for budget management. For a person, if they want an app to manage their budget. And what's very interesting here is that it gives me a little insight into the profitability of these applications. So most of the applications are subscription-based. And I find that really it's an area where there is a lot of passive income from these applications. Thanks to this, I tried to explore a few ideas. And I obviously tried to take screenshots. And afterwards, this can really be a very, very good start for creating an application. So I did a test where I actually asked to create an application that allows me to manage a budget. And we managed to do it in a very, very simple way. And now to do a test together, I wanted to do something from A to Z to really see the quality of this achievement. And I wanted to move towards the field be IMOT of everything related to project management. We will try to conduct research on this to see if there are applications, if there are interesting revenues, or not. We will try to maybe just test project. So project management, or a project, because today there aren't many online applications that allow for project management. But we will try to see. So Project Live, Art Project, you see. So there aren't really many applications for online project management for a team. And I want to create, for example, a simple web application that allows for project management within a team. So I might simply take a competing site, for example, Trello, which is a well-known site in project management. It offers an application that is interconnected with several other applications. So, for example, that might interest me. So what am I going to do? I will simply copy the link and go to chat.gpt on the GPT that I presented to you. Who is that guy? And there we will ask it, for example, I will choose like this. I have a website. So here I tell it that I have a link to a website that inspires me, that interests me. So very well. So there it asks me to give it. I will tell it this is the website. And there I will actually put the name of the site. Of course, you can write your prompt in the language that interests you. That is to say, if I type it in English, there will actually be a prompt in English. If I type it in French, I will have a prompt in French. On Hostinger, the language of your prompt doesn't matter because it calculates the consumption based on the number of prompts. Unlike other editors, it's the token that determines the score, and if you, for example, use a prompt in a language other than English, it will consume tokens to translate it into English and then execute it. But here on Stinger, it's different, so the language isn't important. You choose the language that interests you. And of course, it doesn't take into account all the languages in the world. So if you use Chinese, it won't consider it. It will only consider French, English, Spanish, Portuguese. So these are the requests it can take into account. So here I'm actually giving it this website. Normally, it will try to detect and understand the project a little bit. And there, it gives me suggestions. It asks me, do you want me to add other features? It asks me, do you really want to add other touches to this? Do you want to make the application oriented towards a specific field in project management? For a specific sector? Do you want me to work on the style and everything? And that's very important. So then, even in terms of suggestions, I can tell it, listen, give me other suggestions to differentiate from that application. And you will see that it can give you a whole list of features. So for me, I will take something very, very simple. I will just tell it that I really want the application to be the same. So here I will tell it that I want it to be exactly the same. So what will happen here is that it will really start creating what we call the specifications document. This is very, very important. So here it is developing this specifications document. It is setting up a name for the application. So it suggested a name here. It also suggested the objectives of this application. It also proposed the features, as you can see here. And this is actually very interesting as a system. So for the features, it only takes the main features. That is to say, it doesn't develop the secondary features at the beginning, because Hostinger needs to take the main features, because thanks to that, it will create the database. And there you go. I find the playing pieces, the history, the activity, the automation. And here it suggests a menu to me, and this too is very interesting. It suggests a very detailed menu with information at the interface level. And here, of course, it adds a final note to tell the singer not to stop until all the features are operational. I can tell it here if I want. I can actually ask it. I need to respond in English. No, I made a typo, but it's not a big deal. So here, it can actually completely rework the cache charge. So in English, here, I will tell it. In the English language, so it will rewrite it in English if you simply need to have the detailed report in English. After all, it is ultimately a choice. Okay, once we have gathered all of this information, what we need to do next is just to copy this prompt and then send it back to hosting in order to get the results and subsequently start deploying our application. So there you go. Here it gave me all the detailed results. I can simply copy it just like this. There I copy it and I will proceed to my Hostinger interface where I have created the new website to launch Amiyu, my application. Here I do a copy-paste. There is also something very interesting. If you have a design in mind and you want to add some interactive elements related to the design, it's possible. And for the design, what I recommend is that you can go to the Dribbble site and Archon. On this site, you just need to type here, so the project. For example, we will put it there. So here I will put project management, and you will see that it will actually give me several designs. So several designs of applications that might interest me. For example, if this one interests me, I can simply save it. So I save this design and I can come here and upload it. So I click on open and it will take into account the design I just uploaded. All that's left to do is click on send. Here you need to be very careful as it will take and consume a lot of time. This kind of process can take anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes sometimes, depending on the specifications we send. The difference with other editors is that it won't show me the website archives, meaning I won't see a console here with codes and files. Instead, it will give me information about the files with a bit of a layout of these files, and it will take a lot of time to do this because it really goes deep into development and programming. So you need to be patient, really patient, and give it time to do the development and programming. And don't forget, at the same time, it is creating the working environment on your site physically. This means it will create the database, make the connections, and set up the space with images, photos, and everything that goes with it. So it's completely normal for it to take much more time. It's different from other editors. With other editors, when you launch, you provide a blueprint. Even if it's a complete blueprint, what is the result? It will try to just do the design of the first interface, and then you have to tackle them one by one. It's true that here, we have to tackle each functionality one by one to go into detail. But the first installation, you really feel that it has done everything to install and work on your entire cache charge. So don't worry, it might take a little more time. You need to let it program. So, if it ever, let's say it exceeds 15 minutes of loading and you find that it's stuck on the same file, it's very simple. You can come here and ask it to continue, meaning you can type, I need to fix this bug, or simply continue. You just type continue, and then it will continue. So you shouldn't stop or close the window, because if you close the window even a little, all the files it just wrote will, of course, not be saved. And in addition to that, in terms of the number of tokens, here too it will be consumed. So there, you will still lose a token, and every token counts. Every token, after all, you should take advantage of it to ask it to do tasks. And you see that whether it's a small print or a large print, for him it's the consumption of a message, it counts the same. So even if you fix a small error or you fix many things, it's better to do a complete print rather than small prints. So we'll let it process that, okay? You see, it's setting up the file. We'll give it the necessary time, and you'll see later it will give me a small display here. But we will mainly use the publisher to test our application in full screen and see a little bit what the result is. So, I'm going to let it run for a bit until it finishes the deployment and the creation of all the files I requested. Then, after exactly 6 minutes of development, it just sent me this error message when it tried to compile the work. What's very interesting is that you saw it detected the error. It asked me if I want to fix and resolve it. It's very interesting because generally, when we have an error, we need to copy that message and put it into the editor. But here we don't need to copy it. You'll see that here it detected the error and the error message by itself. And I'm simply going to click on Fix this error. So what will happen is that it will work on the index page because it was in the last compilation step. So then it will simply edit it and we will see the result. And so I really wanted to leave the error message to show you a little bit how, when I deal with this editor, it has a certain capability to simply resolve it. And now it is updating the wishes in question that are related to this error message. So now I'm actually going to let it finish and see a little bit of the result it will produce. So it just corrected this error, And after a minute, it was able to update all these files, and I'm simply going to click here to publish and see the result. What it will do now is give me the option. Either it will provide me with a temporary link, or I can simply connect my domain name to have the domain name directly. So I will choose this option. Otherwise, to view the site and have a temporary URL, be aware that this URL is temporary, meaning the site will still be hosted here. I can send it to friends, I can simply share it, I can work on the entire application with this URL, and at any time I can switch and move to the final domain name. So here I will tell it that I will use the test URL, so this is my website that it has actually created for me, and I will simply go through a bit of the journey of this application. So what I notice here at the top is that I see it has created a space for the user profile. So as you can see, here I can switch between dark and light modes. There is a notification system, which is very interesting, you see, for working on identification. I really like that. Here the account, so I can change the language at the bottom. Look, several languages are programmed. I don't know if I select French and save. So here, for example, he prepared this, but he didn't execute the function. So I can actually create a prompt to activate this option, and we can test it later if you want. So I'll leave it like that. And here there's also the security aspect to update the kunde, login and password. So we can of course request it to create a login space for us so that everything works correctly, but it's very, very good that he has already prepared this whole system in a predefined way from the start. And here he indicated that I am in fully plan mode, so a flat mode. Okay, I also look at the help and support section to see, so he hasn't developed the help and support section yet, he just put a menu. And now I go back to the dashboard, I see that he has put 2 test projects, so he filled it with 2 projects. This is also the difference with other code editors, they don't actually include test information. There is a small search space here, so we will just simply try here to click to add a new project. So we will make an EI project. It's as if we are going to create an EI application very, very well. And so there you go for this project. I don't know if we can mark it as a favorite or not. Well, it's not operational, but still I see that the features here, I think they are well done. So we will try to test it. So here, for example, to do, we will put meeting, team, very, very well. So here I will put, for example, Zoom. I don't know if we can move them. Yes, it moves this way. That's very good. In progress. So I will try to add this here. Test part, for example. That's very, very good. So we were actually able to do that. Of course, I can actually ask it to do the colors and everything. The sharing part doesn't work. The rename part, yes, that's very good. I can rename it. That's very good. And here I can also clearly see the settings or delete it, okay? If I go back to the dashboard, so we will try to see here in the dashboard. There you go. The project has just been added. It gave me the date and everything. So far it's correct. The display is correct. I don't know if we will put here. Oh yes, the search function works very, very well. We will try to see if it works or not. So this one doesn't work. Okay, so up to this point, I think the program, we will try to test the tasks as well. Oh yes, so the tasks, when we add them, they are added here. And then I think regarding the tasks, oh yes, it's finished. So I think it will be placed here. This is actually very, very good. I actually like the task section that is connected to the project sections. So up to now, I think the system is not bad. I will try to ask it a question here. We will ask it to develop a small payment space to subscribe if I want to use this application. So I give it a free space. There are payment spaces where there are a few more features. So I press here, and what is the idea? So we will try to gradually add other features and see the behavior. But still, for the first result of the first prompt, a single prompt gave me this result with only one error that it was able to correct. Honestly, if I compare it with other editors that consume a lot of tokens to achieve the same result, so far I think it's very good. Don't forget, it's hosted online, so there's no need to connect any database, and we don't actually need to migrate. You will see later when I create a user account, the data information obviously remains. This means that every time I make updates here, we won't need to redo or actually re-enter the information. So now it's updating the necessary files, and you will see that it will actually be able to even make suggestions. Although I haven't given many details here, you will see that the quality of the content it will put in the proposals really has research behind it. This is also a difference compared to other editors. So now I will leave it for a few moments to actually finish the programming. It's true, I think you've noticed it's a bit slower than other editors. But for me, I see that it delves deeper into reduction and development. Look here. For example, it's currently working on the header, and as we can see here, it has added a header. So we are waiting for it to give me the final display to see a little bit of the header it just created. So we're going to let it finish this task for a bit. So there, it took exactly 3 minutes to process these requests. So we had to be patient to see the result, but still it seems to work well. So we're going to try to test the result a little bit. So now we're going to choose to test, and there you go. It added this bar that we are currently seeing on the header. So then it suggests that I do the upgrade if I want, and here too there's our upgrade button. If yes, we can remove this bar, and it tells me that I have the possibility to create, in fact, 5 projects. I have 0 out of 5. I can do the upgrade, which is very, very good. Look, so the upgrade there suggests moving to the premium version. When I click, it's very, very beautiful, in fact, the design. And there, if I upgrade to switch to the system, for example, if I click here, I can ask it to switch to an electronic payment system with Stripe. So that's what we're going to try to do. So here it gives me the advantages. We also see the system. It is proposing here. There you go, the same thing. And I see that here it gives me the information regarding this system. So what I'm going to do, in fact, is try to ask it to work better on this part. So what I'm going to do is take a screenshot of this part, and I will tell it that when I click on upgrade, I want it to proceed to make the electronic payment with Stripe. So here I actually asked it to complete the configuration of the upgrade to premium button, meaning I want it to switch to the electronic payment system, and I told it I want you to finish with Stripe. So be careful to integrate Stripe. It will do all the necessary programming, but you will see that it needs what is called the API. So what is the API? First, you need to have a Stripe account. Once you have a Stripe account, you will simply go to the developer section, and you will see that when I click here on developer, you will see what are called API keys. So the API keys, it's thanks to this secret code that you can connect with your provider, which is Stripe, to handle all electronic payments. That means if someone pays with their card, you will receive the money on Stripe, which is a provider that will then send the money to your bank. Here on Stripe, I will show you, you will actually copy the public key, which is a code here that you need to retrieve. And there is also what is called the secret key. You need to click here to reveal the protection key. These 2 keys are very, very important. You will retrieve them and actually give them to our application so that it can simply integrate Stripe directly into your system. So now we will test to see a little bit if the upgrade option actually works correctly or not. So I will click, I will simply take this system, and perfect. So now it has actually given me the possibility to make a monthly, ease, or annual payment. Look, and you see it even made the discount if I chose the annual option, all of which I didn't ask for, and it's very, very interesting. It did what was necessary to set it up, and here I actually have the system to enter the 16 digits of my credit card, the expiration date, the security code, and this is really very, very interesting. It even integrated the pay button here. I can of course further develop it, ask it to add PayPal with PayPal payment. In any case, this is very, very interesting as it was able to do all this programming. I can further push the programming to ask it, for example, to develop a client area where the client can actually log in, create an account, set up a login and password, and access this database. So it's possible to do that. And we can actually do it at the end if you want. Also, I can ask it to make improvements to specific programs. For example, regarding these programs, I can ask it to further develop the design of the homepage. So here, we might ask it to improve the dashboard to provide more statistics and perhaps fill in test information on these bases to better understand the mechanism and enhance the machine interface. So here you simply need to inject the new prompt here. So here we are going to try to ask it, for example, to create 3 projects for me, and I want it to add the concept of members so that I can assign members to each task to participate in the project. And I also ask to improve the dashboards. Be careful here. You shouldn't add too many tasks because it will take much more time. It's true that the more the parent is developed, it will count as, well, a message. But sometimes putting a lot of features into a single prompt, especially when we are trying to improve, it might cause it to bug. So, therefore, you needed to focus on 1 or 2 tasks maximum per message so that it can really do the best job, allowing you to effectively follow your application and not end up with an application full of bugs. So here I specified to add information, create a new feature, and improve a display. I think that's the maximum we can do to achieve the best result, which is an optimized application. So now I am launching my request. Of course, it was necessary to allow a few minutes for it to update. I think when the system is filled and we add the member task, it will have a more developed application. I think you have understood the principle. So I create a quality prompt, try to send it, and let it develop. And here, the reasoning mode, as you can see, is summarizing what it will do before taking action, the features it wants to execute. So now we will try to see what it has analyzed. So it has done a recap, telling me that it has practically detected 4 tasks. So it has listed them, and subsequently for each task it is detailing what it will do. This is very, very important in relation to what it will do for the team. And here the additional features that it will add. So it does a little recap. I think everything is fine. So now it asks me if I want to add or improve these details that it just sent. For me, it's okay. So I will tell it, listen, go ahead and take action. I want you to develop. And so I launch it. Here, it counted this as only 1 message, so it didn't charge it as 2 messages. It made an interaction with me in just 1 message, and now it will proceed with the development. As you can see, we have the 4 features, and it will start. For example, it chose to start with the members. On the development side, it understood that it needs to add this so that later it can fill in with the information. It sees with its reasoning which steps or tasks come first. It's as if we have a senior developer, so we give them the tasks and they know a little bit which ones to start with to ensure the system works very well. So I think it will take a few minutes. I will try to count exactly how many minutes it will take to actually create this message. So I will pause while it finishes the development and programming. So actually he received a message outside. I asked him to fix it, so he fixed it, and as a result he was able to simply add the concept of users, which is very, very interesting, and he improved the dashboard display. I will now ask him to simply improve the connection. I will ask him to work on the client area so that he gives me the possibility to connect with a login and password. We will simply let this task be executed. It's as if I can also ask him to make the connection with Gmail or Facebook if I want people to connect with their social networks. But here we will work with a very simple form to actually access the connection with a login and password. So here he will simply set up a connection system. So we will simply ask him to start the development. So obviously you noticed there. Now, every time I need the printer, it starts giving me. So here are the steps, actually, the features it found and detected. So now we will let it develop to see and actually test the result. So there, it's working on, when you see there on the time, notification. So there, we will actually leave it for 2 to 3 minutes so it can work on the authentication Well, so there, it executed quickly. It only took 2 minutes, so there are no error messages. We will try to test, so there, we will try to test to see if the result is actually correct or not. So we will try to see if in this space, if I can, of course, create an account or not. So there, we will test it directly online. So here I will rather go for account creation. So I will enter an email and a password and we will confirm it. Let's go. So we will call it like this. So this is my address. Email. We will also try to enter the same login and the same password here. There you go, to test. Oh yes, it requires at least one uppercase letter and a number. So we will simply use this. And there you go. You see, on the security side, it's well done, so that's very good. I will create an account. We will save it, so be sure that this account has just been created in the database. Even if I log out, I will still find it active. And if I go here, in the settings, as you can see here, it has detected the login, password, and default name. I can click on preferences, and there I can simply change that information. I can request during the creation to give me the option, if you like, to add a first name and last name. All of these are details that I can request, I can recommend. You see here as well, I can change the password. I save it. Here too, there is the option to change the avatar and add a photo if I want. Let's test it. So, if I want to upload this from my computer, and there you go. The space, I think it's good. Let's try to log out. Log out. We log in. That's very good. So that was a step that was completed. Also, there is the possibility to develop sections like help, support, for example, for this one. I can simply ask it to develop the help and support page. Oh, so it's very simple. I come here. I will tell it, develop the page. There, I give it help. And we will add the character support. There you go. I just press enter. I give it that. So as a result, it might understand. Maybe it will suggest an effect unless I provide more details regarding the prints. So it's possible. Of course, if I give it the details, then it will at least put them online so that it will find, in fact, what it should include in that section. And afterwards, you will see, there you go. So now it will start giving me the reasoning. So there you go. I think it detected that it will add FAQ, guide, contact options. So that's very, very interesting. And there you go. So there it is. It went directly to create that card. So we'll give it time to develop this page for me. And there you go. It's finished. It took 1 minute. So here we can actually publish it to test this update. So now we'll try to see if on the help page it was able to actually add options or information. So we'll go to help. And wow, there you go. So really the result is very, very interesting. Of course. So there is a very interesting idea. Look, even the contact and everything. So there is also a very important piece of information. You can also ask it to develop a back office where it allows you to update all this information from your interface. And that will prevent you from having to type prompts. So let me explain. There are 2 ways to update this data. Either you create a back office where you can update all this information, all this data, or you can and simply put that in the print, meaning you compile all the data into a PDF and come here. You will actually add the PDF here as an attachment, and it will fill all that in. So I actually prefer initially leaving the option for the print to do it as much as possible, meaning working on your entire site with this print option, and then later on, once you have completed 100% of your site creation, at that point, you can switch to the back office mode. There, it will give you a login to MoodPass that you will develop, and there you can update your entire site. Look here, even at the level of help, every time there is a new guide, it shows it at the top. It's very, very nice. So we just went through the options. Come on, let's test a little bit the project to see here. In terms of updates, what it has done, So there we did, for example, the information. I can duplicate, I can edit. I can, of course, view them in this way. And there is the part, team. So that's very interesting. So I will add the people who can be in the project. So look here, I assign this for the projects. So these people, when they log in with their username and password, they will see these tasks. And the tasks, there you go. So they work in this way. So if it's complete and all, it gives us a dashboard, of course. It reacts in real time. And so this is the summary of our application. And there you go. So you now understand how the Hostinger Horizon tool works. Honestly, I find it good because the fact that it tries to resolve the error on its own, autonomously, is very, very good. When it encounters an error, usually, it can actually request to fix the error. 2 or 3 times at most, it manages to fix it. And that's what I like about this application, that it has a very, very powerful reasoning system which allows it to resolve any situation. And as a result, I feel that I am capable of creating applications and seeing them through to the end with the features. Because sometimes, with other editors, we sometimes get stuck on a feature. And even if we ask and consume a lot of tokens to unlock it, it always remains at the same starting point. With Hostinger Horizon, I see that it pushes and really tries to provide a very operational system, or SaaS. So what is my idea to finish this video? I would like to do a live session specifically on Hostinger Horizon. And in that live session, we will simply take an application and we will develop it. And during the development loading time, because we understood that the focus takes between 2, 7, and sometimes 10 minutes to process at that moment, we will actually have a discussion to talk a little about the hours, the systems, and the details of the code, thanks to the hierarchy. So, to do the live, we needed at least about 50 people, because generally when I propose to do a live, there aren't many people who are interested. So, if many of you are interested in a live on Hostinger Horizon, simply type live Hostinger Horizon in the comments and we will try to schedule. It may be very soon. Actually, in the coming days, if there are indeed at least 50 people requesting this live, to create a small community to discuss everything related to application creation with AI. Thank you very much. And there you have it. We've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you want to support me, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel so I can continue creating free videos on YouTube. And if you want to join my community on Udemy, if you want more advanced detailed courses with more examples and practical workshops, I have put the Puzzle 2-pack on my website for you. The first one simply contains all my courses on artificial intelligence, automation, and our codes. And the second one is a complete package. It contains approximately 1,000 hours of training. You'll even find digital marketing in it. Don't forget to simply use the code I created especially for my YouTube community. It's a code that is YT20. This one will simply give you a discount of 20% on these packages from yesterday. Please note, it's a code that is only valid for my YouTube subscribers. I thank you very much and see you soon.